Welcome to Craft Guru Education. Learn chemistry in 3 hours. This is video number 6. In this video, we will discuss two things. The first one is the mole and volume of gas. The second thing is the calculation of moles, mass, volume of gas, or Avogadro number based on the chemical reaction given. That should conclude the whole 3 hours of learning chemistry. You should have the fundamental understanding of chemistry after this video. Let's take a look of the handout. In video 5, we discuss on relative atomic mass. We also talk about relative molecular mass, relative formula mass. We calculate the number of particles based on mole or the other way around. We also calculate the mass based on the mole given or the other way around. Now let's take a look at the relationship between mole and volume of gas, or the other way around, calculation of mole based on volume of gas given. Before we look into this mole and volume of gas, let's discuss on the answer for the 3 examples given in the last video. In the last video, we have these 3 examples. We have not discussed the answer. Let's take a look at the first one. Which substance has a different mass with 1 mole of glucose? Let's calculate the mass for 1 mole of glucose. The RAM for carbon is 12, 6 of it times 6, plus hydrogen, the RAM is 1 times 12 of it, and oxygen, the RAM is 16. So the mass for 1 mole of glucose is 180. Let's put it here first. Let's check the answer one by one. For propanol, what is the mass for propanol? 1 mole of propanol first. So 3 carbon, 12 times 3 plus 7 hydrogen, 1 times 7 plus O, 16 plus H is 1. This is 36 plus 7 plus 16 plus 1. We get 60. This is for 1 mole. Since the question says 3 mole, we use 60 times 3, we get 180. So yes, this has the same mass with glucose, but we are looking for different mass. Therefore, A is not the answer. Next, let's take a look at propene. Propene C3H6. So 12 times 3 plus 1 times 6. 36 plus 6, 42. 4 moles times 4 is 168. This is 168. Therefore, it is not the same as 1 mole of glucose. The answer is B. Check if your working is the same as mine. If it is different and you have questions, do drop us email or contact us via our WhatsApp, and we can have a short discussion about it. Next, what is the mass of gold that has the same number of atoms as 4 grams of oxygen? Let's calculate the mole of oxygen first. Mole is the middleman for us to calculate volume, which we will talk about this later, or mass, or number of particles. So remember, in any given situation, always convert it to mole, and it should be very easy to do the calculation and the answer should be correct. Since the question says 4 grams of oxygen, let's calculate how many mole of oxygen we have here. 1 mole of oxygen gas, the natural appearance is 16 times 2, which is 32 grams. So 32 grams is 1 mole. Given 4 grams is how many mole? We do ratio method. This divided by this times this. One over 8, which is 0.125 mole. So this is 0.125 mole of oxygen. So for gold, we want to have the same number of atoms. So 0.125 mole of oxygen have 2 molecules, have 2 atoms. So we have to number of atoms. Okay, we after convert from mass, the mole put here, mass convert to mole, and then mole convert to number of particles. So this is talking about number of particles. Okay, we know that 1 mole of oxygen consists of 6 times 6.02 times 10 to the power of 3 oxygen molecule. Now 0.125 mole has how many molecules? We need to use the calculator a bit. Let me turn on my calculator. 0.125 times 6.02 is 0.7525 times 10 to the power of 23 oxygen molecule. But it is talking about atoms. So 1 molecule has 2 atoms, therefore we times 2. Okay, let's write somewhere here, more space. Okay, this times 2, we get 1.505 times 10 to the power of 23 atom. Okay, we park this thing here. Now we can do the calculation for gold. 1 mole of gold has 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 atom. Because gold is metal, is 1 mole. Therefore, this number of atom is how many mole? We do this one divided by this one times this one. So just use calculator, divide 1.505 divided by 6.02. It is 0.25 mole. All right, so now back to just now the middleman. We managed to calculate from number of particles to mole. Now let's use mole to convert to mass. Okay. 1 mole of gold is 197 gram. 0.25 mole, we use ratio. This one, divide this one, times this one. We get 0.25 times 197. The answer is 49.25 gram. Did you manage to do the calculation? All right, so let's look at the last example. How many times the number of atoms in 7 grams of nitrogen gas is larger than in 7 grams of iron? Again, use mole as the middleman. We use mole to compare. Iron, 1 mole is 56 grams. 56 grams is 1 mole. 7 grams is how many mole? We again use the ratio method. So it's 1/8, 0.125. Here, iron is 0.125 mole. Let's calculate the mole for nitrogen. Nitrogen. For iron, we don't convert it to number of Avogadro because it is atom, since it is metal. So let's look at nitrogen gas. 7 grams of nitrogen gas. We use mole to calculate first. 1 mole of nitrogen gas is 14 times 2, 28 grams. Okay, let's put like this. 28 grams is 1 mole. 7 grams is 7 divided by 28. 1/4. 1/4 is 0.25 mole. 0.25 mole, of course, this is the molecule. And since we are talking about atom, we still need to times 2 here. This one. So 0.25 times 2 is 0.5 mole. So we are talking about nitrogen is 0.5 mole. How many times the number of atoms in 7 grams is larger? So we are talking about nitrogen atom ratio to iron. So 0.5 mole ratio to 0.125. You just use 0.5 divided by 0.125. Let me see. I'm turning on my calculator just to make sure. 0.5 divided by 0.125. We get 4. So it's 4 times. The answer is 4 times. How is your calculation? I hope you managed to figure out how to do this calculation using mole as the middleman. So based on the discussion of the 3 questions, I'm sure to calculate mole and volume of gas is not a problem for you. But before that, let's take a look at the concepts of molar volume compared to mole. All right. Here in my notes, I mentioned, where is my, yeah, here. At standard temperature and pressure, here, 1 mole of any gas occupies 22.4 dm³. What is standard temperature and pressure? Standard temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. Standard pressure is at 1 atmosphere. Because different people carry out chemical experiment at different locations. It could be at like Malaysia, very hot. It can be 30 degrees Celsius. So the temperature difference will affect chemical reaction. So they have to state it clearly, right? Like 0 degrees Celsius and 1 atmosphere. Or another way to say it is, if we don't want to use standard temperature and pressure, we use room conditions. Room conditions is 25 degrees Celsius. 1 mole of gas occupies 24 dm cube. It is not cm cube, so pay attention. It is decimeter cube. In physics, you learn the unit number from tera to giga to mega to kilo. Then we have deci, centi, milli, and all that. So deci is 1 deci is 10 centi. Therefore, 1 dm cube will be 10 power of 3 centi cube. That means 1000 cm cube. Okay, just bear in mind that we are using dm cube for volume of gas. Okay, moving on to the example. We will use example to discuss some calculation involve volume of gas. All right. What is the volume of 1.2 moles of neon gas at STP, standard temperature and pressure? What is the volume? Okay, we know 1 mole is 22.4. So 1.2 mole, you just use 1.2 times 22.4. Leave your answer in dm cube. Okay, use your calculator to do the calculation. Next, 100 cm cube of carbon dioxide gas is collected in the reaction at room conditions. How many moles of carbon dioxide is produced? So 24 dm cube is 1 mole, or we times 1000 cm cube is 1 mole. Now, the question give is 100 cm cube is how many mole? You use 100 divided by 24000, and you should get the answer if you use calculator. It should be around 0.0042 mole. Yeah. All right. This is how we do calculation for volume of gas. Next, let me see if you can do this on your own. Yeah, you can do this on your own. What is the volume of 100 grams of ammonia? Okay, this one you can do on your own. This one also you can do on your own. You can try this. What is the mass? Oh, okay, now this one, the calculation of volume based on mole discussion done. Moving on to part 2 of this video, which is calculate anything the question asks based on chemical equation. Let's look at the first example. What is the mass of sodium needed to react with 0.5 mole of chlorine? Now, whenever we want to do this kind of calculation, remember step 1, write a balance equation. For sodium, the balance equation Na react with chlorine Cl2 will become, remember, temporarily write the ion. Sodium is Na plus, Cl is Cl minus. When they combine, we only need 1 sodium and 1 chlorine to balance each other charge. Now let's balance the equation. Here we have 2 chlorine on the left side of the equation. On the right side, we only have 1. So we add a 2 in front. But it affects sodium, 2 sodium. So we add a 2 in front here. Then we get the first step done. The first step is write a balance equation. The second step is write down the info or information needed. including what we need to find. Here they ask the mass of sodium. Okay, we put a question mark here on top of sodium. How many gram? React with 0.5 mole. So given this is 0.5 mole. Okay, so based on this, we have done step 2. Write down all information. Step 3, use ratio based on the balance equation. All right, so based on this equation, this whole equation here, the ratio for chlorine, we use the information we want to find out. So chlorine and sodium, these are the two things we will use for the calculation. We write like this. Based on the balance equation, 1 mole of Cl2 react with 2 mole of sodium. And question given is 0.5 mole of chlorine theoretically will react with, okay, use the ratio method, this one divide this one times this one. 0.5 divided by 1 times 2. So it's 1 mole of sodium. 0.5 mole of chlorine will react with 1 mole of sodium. That means in this chemical reaction, the number of mole we use for sodium is 1 mole. And since 1 mole is 23 gram, then that means the answer is 23 gram. This is the answer. All right. Remember these 3 steps, then you should be able to do all the calculation. I will leave these steps here so we can take a look at the next example based on these 3 steps. Okay, what is the volume of carbon dioxide gas produced at STP if 63 gram of propene is burned completely? Burned completely, that means we have enough of oxygen to burn it. You will learn about this in Form 5 Organic Chemistry. So if you don't know how to write the chemical equation, it's okay. Anyway, when propene is burned plus O2, it always produces carbon dioxide and water. Okay, now we need to balance this equation. Carbon dioxide and water, we have 6 hydrogen here, so we put 3 in front. 3 times 2 is 6. But it affects oxygen, so oxygen 3 only. Here is O2. Let me delete this. Okay, we need to balance carbon first. Here we have 3 carbon, put a 3 here. Now we see how many oxygen get affected on the right side. 3 times 2, 6, plus 3 is 9 oxygen. So we put 9 over 2. Of course, again, we cannot use fraction for chemical equation. Everyone times 2. Then we get 2. This one. Nine. And this one we get 6 CO2 plus times 2 is 6 H2O. Okay, ignore how to balance this equation. If this is a objective question, normally they will give you the equation, or you should have learned this in organic chemistry. You will know how to write the equation and you will also know how to balance it. All right, so step 1 done. This one, write a balance equation. Next, write down all information. What is the volume of carbon dioxide gas produced? Okay, put a question mark. This one, volume equals to question mark. If 63 gram of propene, so given 63 gram. Okay, so we are going to use this to ratio with this, right? Because step 3 is use ratio. We have 2 mole of propene produce 6 mole of carbon dioxide. Now 63 gram is how many mole? We need to calculate first. 1 mole of propene is, okay, C3, 12 times 3 plus 1 times 6, 42 gram. All right, so 42 gram is 1 mole. 63 gram will be 63 divided by 42, and we get 1.5 mole. Yeah. All right, so 1.5 mole of propene will produce, use the ratio method, this one divide this one times this one. 1.5 divided by 2 times 6. We get 4.5 mole of carbon dioxide. Okay, I'm going to erase this. 4.5 mole, we know 1 mole is 22.4. 4.5 mole, again use ratio method. 4.5 times 22.4, we got 108 dm cube. This is the answer. Okay, write a balance equation, write down all the information and use ratio. That will help you do any calculation. Okay, let me recap the steps of doing calculation. The first important notes is always use mole as the middleman. Okay, the next one is all my 3 steps. The first one is balance equation, followed by write down all info. Last but not least, use the ratio to settle the problem. With that, we should conclude our Learn Chemistry in 3 hours series. We learned that knowing how electron arrange itself is important, electron arrangement, because after this, you know how to write the electron configuration, and then you know whether it will turn positive or negative during chemical reaction, or they will share electron. From here, we learn to do all the calculation and write chemical equation. I received questions asking if I will cover acid-base, organic chemistry, and other topics in the syllabus. After put into serious thought about it, I will come up with a series of videos in modular form. Maybe 2-3 videos cover acid and base, 2-3 videos cover organic chemistry, 2-3 videos cover electrolysis, and so on, so that you can choose which topic you want to learn or which topic you want to revise. Of course, there are also questions asking whether I can conduct a live Q&A session to discuss on the questions in my handout, or can I have a session to discuss on answering technique, how to score A in SPM or IGCSE. I welcome all this feedback so that I can start organizing all this either face-to-face or Zoom online session with you all. With that, happy learning. Please follow my website at www.craftguru.org so that you can get the latest update, or follow our Facebook and Instagram with this username. The YouTube video will stop at this video number 6. Please hop over to our social media and website to get the latest update. Happy learning!